Have you ever noticed how easy it is to lose yourself in the glow of a dream? We picture the life we want, the success we imagine, the places we hope to reach one day. And while dreams are powerful, they give us energy, direction, and even hope. There is a quiet truth that often gets overlooked. If we are too consumed by what we long for, we risk losing touch with what we already have. Life is not something waiting for us on the horizon. It is happening right now, in this very breath, in this very moment. This reflection begins with a simple reminder. Do not get so caught up in your dreams that you forget to live your life. It sounds obvious, yet many of us slip into this trap without even realizing it. We chase the someday and neglect the today. We think happiness will come when our dreams come true, forgetting that joy, presence, and meaning are woven into the ordinary fabric of daily life. In this journey, we will explore 12 essential aspects hidden within this short but powerful saying. Each part will invite us to pause, to consider deeply, and to see how both dreams and reality are meant to coexist, not as rivals, but as companions. You will see that it is not about abandoning your ambitions, nor is it about suppressing your hopes. Instead, it is about learning the art of balance, how to dream without losing yourself, and how to live fully without forgetting what you long for. As we move through these 12 reflections, I invite you to do more than just listen. Let this be a moment of gentle self-inquiry. Where in your life are you too focused on the future at the expense of the present? Where do you need to slow down, breathe, and return to what is right in front of you? And if these thoughts resonate with you, I warmly encourage you to share your perspective in the comments. Let us learn from each other. And if you find meaning here, consider subscribing to the channel. Together, we can continue exploring the wisdom that helps us live more fully with both our dreams and our lives in harmony. Dreams are often the first spark that lights up our inner world. They arrive quietly sometimes when we least expect them, during a walk in a sleepless night, or even while we are immersed in the rhythm of daily tasks. They whisper of a life that could be a horizon not yet reached, and in that whisper lies both inspiration and challenge. Dreams are not simply fantasies. They are the language of our inner longing, the ways our spirit points toward growth, creativity, and purpose. To dream is to recognize that life holds more possibilities than what is visible right now. Without dreams, we would become stagnant, trapped in the repetition of habit and routine. A dream pulls us forward, giving direction to our efforts and coloring our choices with meaning. It offers a sense of why to the what of our actions. In this way, dreams can serve as a compass, subtle but persistent, reminding us of the deeper truths that reside within us. However, it is important to recognize that dreams by themselves are not enough. They are the seeds, not the harvest. They provide vision, but vision without grounding can remain only an idea, fragile and incomplete. To honor a dream is not only to imagine it, but to shape life in such a way that it can take root. And yet many people confuse dreaming with doing. They think that the vividness of imagination is already a kind of progress. It feels good to visualize, to construct castles in the air, but without connection to the soil of reality, those castles eventually dissolve into nothing. When we pay attention to them, we discover what matters most to us. A person who dreams of writing may be pointing toward a need for expression. A person who dreams of traveling may be responding to a call for expansion and discovery. Dreams are therefore mirrors of the soul. They do not just point outward to what we wish to achieve, they point inward to who we are becoming. If we place them too high above our heads, they can create a sense of inadequacy in daily living. The more vivid the dream, the more ordinary the present may feel. If we are not careful, the comparison between what is and what could be becomes a source of disappointment rather than inspiration. This is where many lose balance. They chase endlessly after a dream and overlook the simple gifts of their present life. But when understood rightly, dreams are not meant to diminish the present. They are meant to expand it. They invite us to see beyond limitations, to stretch our imagination, and to align our lives with a greater sense of purpose. The paradox is that the best way to realize a dream is not to abandon the present, but to engage with it more fully. Every step taken with awareness becomes part of the dream's unfolding. Every small act of discipline, every mindful choice is a way of weaving vision into reality. It is a companion along the path of living. It does not ask us to escape reality, but to enrich it. When we give our dreams this rightful place, they cease to be burdens or obsessions. Instead, they become steady lights, guiding us without blinding us, inspiring us without consuming us. From the Stoic perspective, dreams are not rejected, but they are placed in harmony with reason. The Stoics remind us that a dream is valuable only when it aligns with what is within our control. Marcus Aurelius himself wrote that one must confine the dream of life to the present moment, suggesting that even our grandest visions must be lived one day at a time. For the Stoics, the purpose of dreaming is not to escape reality, but to live in accordance with nature and virtue. A dream becomes worthy when it serves our growth as rational and moral beings, not when it enslaves us with desire. In this way, Stoicism teaches us to cherish our dreams as guides, but to anchor them in present action, allowing them to support life rather than overshadow it. There is a fine line between devotion and obsession. At first glance, they may appear similar. Both involve focus, energy, and persistence towards something we value. Yet beneath the surface, obsession carries with it a subtle distortion. It transforms what was once an inspiring dream into a consuming fire that blinds us to everything else. To be obsessed is not simply to care deeply. It is to be consumed, to lose balance, to surrender one's freedom to a single pursuit while neglecting the broader tapestry of life. When we speak of obsession, we are not speaking of discipline or commitment. Discipline is measured, intentional, and aware of limits. Commitment reflects maturity, the ability to prioritize without losing perspective. Obsession, however, disregards boundaries. It swallows up time, attention, and even identity. It whispers that nothing else matters except the object of fixation. This is why obsession, even when directed towards something noble, can become harmful. It narrows the vision of the mind, reducing the richness of life to a single rigid frame. When one is obsessed, the world becomes smaller. Relationships fade into the background. The beauty of ordinary life becomes invisible, and even the self is sacrificed to an endless cycle of striving. In obsession, there is no room for pause, no space for reflection, no sense of proportion. Everything bends toward a singular point, and in that narrowing, one loses the ability to see life as a whole. At the root of obsession often lies fear. Fear of failure, fear of insignificance, fear that without attaining a certain goal, life will remain empty. These fears masquerade as ambition, but in truth, they enslave the mind. An obsessed person is not free. They are chained to an image, a result, or a standard they believe must be reached at any cost. Such chains may be invisible, but they weigh heavily on the spirit. What makes obsession especially deceptive is that it often begins with something good. A dream, a passion, or a worthy pursuit can ignite the initial spark. Yet when the pursuit ceases to be a source of joy and becomes a source of compulsion, it slips into obsession. The dream no longer serves life. Instead, life is forced to serve the dream. What was once a healthy motivation now becomes a tyrant. Life is not meant to be reduced to a single aim. There are seasons of work and seasons of rest, moments of striving and moments of stillness. Obsession denies this natural rhythm. It demands constant attention, constant progress, constant striving. And because life is never constant, obsession inevitably breeds frustration. The obsessed mind cannot accept delay, imperfection, or limitation. It seeks only relentless movement, and in doing so, it loses the capacity for peace. To be obsessed is to live primarily in the future, always leaning toward a goal not yet attained. The present moment becomes an obstacle rather than a gift. Instead of being experienced, it is endured. Instead of being cherished, it is bypassed. The irony is profound obsession, which claims to give life meaning, ends up emptying life of its meaning by neglecting the only time we ever truly possess the present. We are not machines designed to repeat one function endlessly. We are complex beings whose well-being depends on balance, connection, and variety. Obsession squeezes out that spaciousness. It treats life as a single channel rather than a broad river with many currents. And while it may promise achievement, it quietly steals peace, relationships, and the simple joys that give life depth. It requires the humility to recognize when pursuit has crossed into compulsion. It also requires courage, the courage to loosen the grip, to widen one's gaze, to accept that true fulfillment does not come from relentless striving, but from harmony. It is not an abandonment of effort, but a reclaiming of proportion. To live without obsession is to live with clarity, to pursue dreams without being consumed by them, and to recognize that balance, not intensity, sustains the soul. Obsession may seem powerful, but in reality, it is fragile. It depends on constant tension, constant pursuit, constant unrest. A life dominated by obsession is like a bow that is never unstrung. Eventually, it snaps. But a life, guided by steady commitment and tempered with perspective, can endure. Such a life knows that dreams are important, but never more important than the act of living itself. The Stoics would view obsession as a form of enslavement to desire. Epictetus reminds us that freedom lies not in getting what we want at all costs, but in mastering our desires and aligning them with reason. To obsess is to allow externals, whether success, recognition, or achievement, to dictate our inner state. Marcus Aurelius counseled himself to remain steady, not carried away by ambition or fear, but grounded in what can be done with virtue in the present. For the Stoic, the danger of obsession is that it blinds us to what is within our control and chains us to what is not. True wisdom, they would say, is to pursue goals with clarity, but to release the need for absolute control. In this way, dreams become allies, not tyrants, and life retains its balance. Neglect is not always loud. It often arrives quietly, almost unnoticed, slipping through the cracks of our daily awareness. Unlike failure, which is visible, or obsession, which is consuming, neglect is subtle. It is the slow fading of attention, the gradual forgetting of what matters, the turning away from life's simplest yet most essential truths. When one becomes so absorbed in chasing a dream that the present moment is overlooked, neglect takes root. And though it may seem harmless at first, over time, neglect erodes the very foundation of a meaningful life. Neglect reveals itself in the absence of care. To neglect something is not necessarily to reject it outright. It is to stop tending to it, to stop honoring it. In relationships, neglect manifests as silence where presence should be. In personal growth, it appears as stagnation where curiosity should thrive. In daily living, it shows up when the beauty of small experiences goes unnoticed, when meals are eaten without gratitude, when conversations are half heard, when days slip by without reflection. Each of these moments may seem small, but together they form a pattern of disconnection. Because it is quiet, it is easy to excuse. One tells oneself there will be time later to appreciate life, time later to reconnect, time later to pay attention. Yet later rarely arrives in the way we expect. By the time we realize what has been neglected, the chance to honor it fully may already be gone. Neglect, therefore, is not just a failure of attention, it is a theft of time. It robs us of the opportunity to live fully in the present. When one chases too hard after a dream, other aspects of life are left unattended. Health weakens, relationships fade, the spirit grows weary. In striving for what is imagined, what is real is quietly abandoned. A person who neglects the present for the sake of the future may one day wake to discover that both the present and the dream have slipped away. At its core, neglect stems from a misunderstanding of value. We convince ourselves that what lies ahead is worth more than what lies here. We treat the present as a stepping stone rather than as a destination in itself. But the present is not merely a bridge, it is the ground beneath our feet. To neglect it is to undermine the very structure upon which dreams depend. For no dream can come alive without the energy, attention, and presence that only the present provides. This is when one forgets to care for the inner life. Dreams may lead us outward toward achievement, but without inward care, without moments of stillness, reflection, and renewal, the spirit becomes dry. Neglecting the self does not mean dramatic self-destruction. It often looks like endless busyness, the refusal to rest, the avoidance of silence. Over time, this quiet neglect leaves us depleted, unable to find joy even in success. Life offers countless gifts each day: the rhythm of breathing, the warmth of sunlight, the presence of others, the capacity to think, to feel, to act. When we neglect to notice these, we live as though impoverished, even though abundance surrounds us. Dreams that blind us to these daily wonders rob us not just of satisfaction, but of wisdom. For wisdom is found in seeing the extraordinary within the ordinary, in cherishing what is before us, without needing it to be different. It requires us to treat the present moment not as an obstacle or an interruption, but as the very essence of life. To notice, to care, to honor the now is to resist neglect. It is not that we must abandon dreams. Rather, we must ensure that the pursuit of dreams does not cause us to abandon ourselves or the life unfolding before us. To correct it, we need not work harder, but notice more deeply. Attention is the antidote to neglect. When we turn our gaze gently toward what is here, we find that the present is not lacking. It is complete, whole, alive. By honoring it, we not only protect ourselves from the subtle danger of neglect, but we also give our dreams a richer soil in which to grow. The Stoics would view neglect as a failure of awareness. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself not to waste what was before him, writing that you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. For the Stoic, neglect arises when we forget the brevity of life and overlook the gift of each moment. Epictetus warned against postponing the practice of virtue, insisting that wisdom must be lived now, not delayed for the future. To neglect the present is in Stoic eyes to betray reason and nature itself. By returning to awareness, by remembering that the only time under our control is this very moment, we guard against neglect. Stoicism thus teaches that to live fully is not to dream endlessly, but to engage with what is directly in front of us without postponement, without excuse. Life is not a rehearsal. It is not something waiting to begin after the achievement of a dream or the arrival of some distant milestone. Life is here unfolding moment by moment, a stream that never pauses. To live is to be immersed in this flow, to recognize that every breath, every thought, every heartbeat is part of the great reality that we call existence. Yet how often we overlook this truth. Imagining that life is elsewhere in the future, we seek, or the past, we revisit, when in fact it is only ever present now. To speak of life in this context is to remind ourselves that it is not abstract. It is not a concept, but a living presence. Life is the simple act of waking each morning, the rhythm of days and nights, the endless cycle of growth and decline. It is not separate from us, it is us. To lose sight of life while chasing a dream is to misunderstand the foundation upon which all dreams depend. For without life, there is no dream. Without this moment, there is no future. Many fall into the trap of thinking they will live later, after success, after recognition, after the dream is achieved. But later is an illusion. When later arrives, it is still only now. If we do not learn to honor life as it is, no achievement will satisfy us. For each dream realized, the mind will create another. Without presence, even the greatest victories feel hollow. Life becomes a chain of pursuits, never a home. It is not only the great events or achievements that define it, but also the small and seemingly ordinary moments. To walk, to breathe, to listen, to feel, these are not distractions from life. They are life itself. When we forget this, we treat life as though it were merely a stage for dreams. But life is not a means, it is an end. Dreams may enrich it, but they cannot replace it. It is not designed to conform to our desires. It carries with it uncertainty, change, and limitation. To embrace life is to embrace imperfection, to recognize that its beauty is not in control, but in participation. We do not command life, we join it. To demand that life match the image of our dreams is to struggle endlessly, but to accept life as it unfolds is to find freedom. The danger of neglecting life is that it cannot be regained. A day overlooked is gone forever. A year lived in distraction cannot be reclaimed. This does not mean we should live in fear of loss, but in awareness of value. Each moment is unique, irreplaceable, and therefore sacred. When we lose sight of this, life becomes something we pass through rather than something we inhabit. Dreams may give direction, but life gives substance. Without the latter, the former collapses. Life is not passive. It asks for our participation. To live is to engage with what is before us, to respond, to create, to care. To imagine life as something that happens automatically is to reduce it. Life is not simply biological survival. It is conscious presence. It is awareness that turns existence into meaning. Without awareness, life becomes mechanical. With awareness, even the smallest act becomes luminous. In truth, life itself is the greatest gift. Everything else, dreams, achievements, recognition, are secondary. To be alive is to have the capacity to dream, to act, to grow, to love. Without life, none of these are possible. To recognize this is to reorder priorities, not to abandon dreams, but to see them as companions rather than masters. Dreams may shape direction, but life is the ground upon which direction is walked. Living fully requires a balance of openness and humility. Openness to receive what life offers, humility to accept what life denies. This balance prevents us from being trapped in resentment or illusion. Life will not always align with our dreams, but it will always provide opportunities for depth if we are willing to see them. In this way, to live is to learn not to control. The essence of life, then, is presence. Not presence as a fleeting mood, but as a way of being. To stand in life fully is to stop waiting for another time, another condition, another circumstance. It is to see that nothing is missing. To forget this is to miss life altogether. For life is not somewhere else, it is here. It is now. For the Stoics, life was never to be taken for granted. Marcus Aurelius wrote often of its brevity, reminding himself to love the hand that fate deals you and play it as your own. To them, life was not something to be postponed until dreams were achieved. It was a sacred opportunity to practice virtue in every moment. Epictetus emphasized that what matters is not how long life is, but how well it is lived in alignment with reason and nature. Neglecting life for dreams would be, in Stoic eyes, a mistake of judgment, a failure to see that the present is the only place where virtue can exist. Their message is simple. Life is not preparation for something greater. It is the very stage upon which wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance are enacted. To live now is to live wisely. Balance is the art of holding opposites without being torn apart by them. It is the ability to give each part of life its rightful place without letting one dominate and consume the whole. When it comes to dreams and daily living, balance is the crucial middle path. Without it, one risks being swallowed by extremes on the one hand, obsession that blinds, on the other, neglect that impoverishes. Balance recognizes the necessity of both vision and presence. It affirms that we can dream without losing the present and live fully without abandoning hope for the future. It is not a fixed state that once attained remains forever. It is dynamic, like the act of walking, a constant, shifting, a continual correction, a subtle dance between movement and stillness. To live in balance is to be flexible enough to adjust to listen to what life requires in each moment, to know when to strive and when to rest, when to imagine and when to act. It demands attentiveness rather than rigidity, humility rather than pride. Extremes are easy, they offer clarity even if destructive. Obsession tells us to devote everything to one pursuit. Neglect tells us to withdraw from responsibility. Both are simple, though harmful. Balance, by contrast, requires discernment. It asks us to hold tension without collapsing, to accept that life cannot be reduced to one direction. It asks us to live with paradox, to pursue without clinging to let go, without indifference, to care deeply without being consumed. It recognizes that no single element of life is sufficient by itself. Work without rest leads to exhaustion, but rest without purpose leads to emptiness. Dreams without action dissolve into fantasy, but action without vision dissolves into chaos. Balance is the principle that integrates opposites, weaving them into harmony rather than conflict. In this way, balance is not compromise, but integration. It does not diminish either side, but allows both to coexist. In the pursuit of dreams, balance acts as a safeguard. It prevents us from becoming so lost in ambition that we forget to live, and so comfortable in living that we abandon growth. It holds us steady, reminding us that fulfillment arises not from intensity alone, but from proportion. A life lived out of balance may achieve temporary success, but it cannot sustain peace. A balanced life, by contrast, sustains both movement and stillness, both striving and serenity. Without understanding our own limits and needs, we cannot hope to live harmoniously. Some seasons of life require more effort, others require more rest. Some moments ask for silence, others for speech. To ignore these rhythms is to live out of tune with ourselves. To honor them is to cultivate balance. In this sense, balance is not only an external arrangement of priorities, but an internal alignment of being. When we live without balance, our vision narrows. One pursuit consumes all our attention. In balance, the horizon widens. We see that life is not only about achievement, nor only about enjoyment, but about the interplay between them. We see that the present and the future are not rivals, but companions. This perspective allows us to engage with life fully, without fear of missing out or being left behind. To live out of balance is to be enslaved either to dreams that dominate us or to distractions that erode us. Balance liberates. It allows us to choose wisely, to engage with what matters without losing ourselves. It teaches us that freedom is not doing everything, but doing the right things in the right measure. It is not achieved overnight, nor is it maintained without effort. Each day asks us to recalibrate, to notice where we lean too far to restore equilibrium. It is not failure to lose balance. It is failure to stop correcting. Like walking a tightrope, the act of balance is ongoing, a continual return to center. In this way, balance is less about perfection and more about resilience, the capacity to return again and again to harmony, even after falling into extremes. Ultimately, it does not reject dreams, nor does it idolize them. It does not deny the present, nor does it cling to it. Instead, it weaves them together, affirming that the art of living is not found in choosing one over the other, but in allowing both to enrich one another. In balance, life regains its fullness, its breadth, its depth. It becomes not a battle between future and present, but a symphony in which both play their part. The Stoics taught balance as moderation, the refusal to be carried away by extremes. Seneca wrote that the wise person follows nature, neither indulging in excess nor withdrawing into apathy. Balance for the Stoic is the essence of virtue. Courage avoids both recklessness and cowardice. Temperance avoids both indulgence and denial. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself to act with proportion, to give each part of life its due without being enslaved by any single passion. For the Stoics, balance is not weakness, but strength, for it shows mastery over impulse and alignment with reason. To live in balance is to live in accordance with nature's order, to embrace effort without obsession, to enjoy rest without neglect, and to walk the middle path with clarity. In this way, balance becomes not just a strategy, but a way of life sustaining both peace and purpose. Reality is the ground beneath our feet. It is the landscape in which all dreams, ambitions, and desires must eventually take root. To ignore reality in favor of imagination is to build on air. Dreams may inspire, but reality sustains. It is reality that nourishes growth, sets boundaries, and reveals what is truly possible. To live well, one must learn not to flee from reality, nor to despise it, but to engage with it fully. Reality is often resisted because it does not conform to our expectations. It brings limitation where we desire freedom, unpredictability, where we desire control. Yet it is precisely these features that give reality its power. Without limitation, we would never know discipline. Without unpredictability, we would never learn adaptability. Reality provides the texture against which character is formed. To embrace it is not resignation, it is maturity. We often see the world not as it is, but as we wish it to be. This creates conflict because the world rarely matches the images in our minds. When dreams collide with reality, frustration arises. But the problem is not reality, it is our insistence that it be different. True wisdom lies in perceiving reality clearly, without distortion, without denial. To see what is without being clouded by what we wish is the beginning of freedom. It shifts, constantly demanding new responses. Those who cling too tightly to a fixed vision often suffer when reality changes. To live in reality is to live in dialogue with change. It is to recognize that no condition, no circumstance, no success or failure lasts forever. This understanding prevents us from being trapped in illusions of permanence. Reality teaches impermanence, and in impermanence lies both humility and release. When one turns away from reality, one turns away from the very conditions necessary for growth. Dreams detached from reality become fantasies. Actions detached from reality become chaos. But when dreams are tested against reality, they gain shape and strength. When actions are guided by reality, they produce results. Thus, reality is not an enemy of dreams, it is their ally. It grounds them, protects them, and transforms them from possibility into experience. Our lives unfold within a world that does not belong solely to us. To recognize reality is to recognize the presence of others, the interdependence of existence. A dream pursued in ignorance of this shared reality becomes selfish, disconnected, even destructive. But a dream that honors reality becomes part of a greater whole, contributing not just to personal fulfillment, but to collective well-being. It is easy to deceive oneself with stories, to construct excuses, to pretend circumstances are different than they are. Yet self-deception only delays growth. To face reality with honesty, however difficult, is to step into strength. Honesty may bring discomfort, but it also brings clarity. With clarity, we can act with precision rather than confusion, with wisdom rather than fantasy. Reality is not always pleasant. It contains pain, loss, limitation, and uncertainty. Yet these do not diminish life, they deepen it. Without reality's challenges, we would remain shallow. Pain awakens compassion. Loss awakens gratitude. Limitation awakens creativity. Uncertainty awakens resilience. In this way, reality, even when harsh, is a teacher. Those who embrace it gain depth. Those who reject it remain fragile. Imagination is essential, for it allows us to envision possibilities beyond the present. But imagination must remain tethered to reality like a kite tied to the earth. Without the tether, it drifts aimlessly. With it, it can soar. The art of living is to allow dreams to stretch us without detaching us, to let imagination inspire us without deceiving us. Reality, then, is not something to escape, but something to honor. It is the ground, the teacher, the mirror, the guide. To honor reality is to walk steadily, neither blinded by illusion nor trapped in despair. It is to find stability amid change, clarity amid confusion, courage amid limitation. Reality does not promise ease, but it does promise truth. And truth, even when difficult, is always the path to freedom. For the Stoics, reality, not to be feared or denied, but embraced. Marcus Aurelius urged himself daily to see things as they are stripped of the legends that surround them. Epictetus insisted that freedom begins with recognizing what lies within our control and what does not, an acknowledgement of reality's boundaries. Seneca taught that it is not reality that harms us, but our resistance to it, our refusal to see it clearly. To live in harmony with nature, the Stoics believed, is to live in harmony with reality itself, to accept change, to endure loss, to embrace limitation, and to act with virtue in the conditions given. Dreams may point us forward, but only reality allows us to practice wisdom. In this sense, Stoicism is not an escape from reality, but a discipline of aligning with it fully. Action is the bridge between vision and reality. A dream without action is like a seed never planted, full of potential, but forever unfulfilled. To act is to give form to intention, to transform imagination into movement. It is through action that life is shaped, that dreams take on flesh, that the unseen becomes visible. Words, thoughts, and aspirations all have value, but it is action alone that brings them into the world. Action requires courage, for it exposes us to uncertainty. To dream is safe. No risk exists in the realm of imagination. But the moment we act, the dream becomes vulnerable. It can succeed, but it can also fail. This vulnerability often frightens us, causing hesitation or endless planning. Yet action cannot be postponed indefinitely. To delay forever is to remain trapped in possibility, never touching reality. Action demands that we step forward despite fear, that we accept imperfection, and that we allow progress to arise from movement rather than waiting for conditions to be perfect. It rarely feels grand or dramatic. Most often, it takes the form of small, steady steps repeated with consistency. These steps may appear insignificant in isolation, yet together they build momentum. The danger lies in dismissing small actions as unimportant, forgetting that great achievements are the accumulation of countless modest efforts. Action asks us not for brilliance, but for persistence. Many people believe they must first feel fully certain before acting, but often certainty comes after movement. When we act, we discover what we value, what we resist, what truly matters. Action reveals us to ourselves. In this way, it is not only about shaping the world, but about shaping character. Without action, values remain abstract. With action, they become embodied. To act is to align behavior with belief. Without action, beliefs risk becoming empty claims. To speak of compassion but never act compassionately is to deceive oneself. To speak of justice but never act justly is to betray virtue. Action tests words, proving whether they hold substance or collapse under pressure. In this sense, action is integrity made visible, yet action requires balance. Unchecked action without reflection can become reckless, while endless reflection without action becomes paralysis. The art lies in uniting both thought, guiding action, and action testing thought. This dynamic interplay allows us to live wisely, ensuring that action is neither blind nor absent. To act with wisdom is to move forward while continually listening, adjusting, and refining. Dreams often stir excitement at the beginning, but action demands endurance long after excitement fades. Commitment to action is measured not by how passionately we begin, but by how consistently we continue. This endurance distinguishes fleeting desire from true dedication. Action sustained over time builds strength, resilience, and the quiet confidence that comes from living faithfully to one's values. Dreams often expand endlessly in the imagination, but when we act, we confront the limits and possibilities of the present. These limits are not barriers, but teachers. They show us what must be adapted, where effort must increase, where patience is required. Without action, we remain blind to these lessons. With action, we learn what is possible and what must be surrendered. The paradox is that while action carries risk, inaction carries greater danger. To act may expose us to failure, but to never act guarantees failure. A dream left untouched is lost by default. Inaction slowly erodes confidence, leaving regret in its place. Action, even when imperfect, creates movement, opens new paths, and teaches lessons that inaction never could. To live without action is to live without becoming. It is through action that we contribute, that we serve, that we leave traces of ourselves in the world. Dreams may inspire, but actions define. They shape not only what we achieve, but who we are remembered as. Life is finite, and action is the way we honor its brevity. Each act is a declaration that we did not merely dream, but we lived. The Stoics placed great emphasis on action aligned with virtue. Epictetus warned against endless talk without practice, reminding his students that philosophy is not words, but deeds. Marcus Aurelius urged himself to rise each morning with the resolve to fulfill his duties, not to delay. For the Stoics, action was not about grand gestures, but about living each day according to reason and virtue. They believed that hesitation born of fear or attachment to outcomes was misguided, for the only thing within our control is our effort. Whether the action succeeds or fails is secondary. What matters is that we live in accordance with our principles. In this light, Stoicism teaches us that action is freedom, not freedom from failure, but freedom from paralysis. By acting rightly in the present, we fulfill both our duty and our humanity. Awareness is the light that illuminates life. Without it, even the richest experiences remain unnoticed, and even the greatest lessons remain unlearned. Awareness is not merely the act of seeing or hearing. It is the quality of presence that allows us to truly encounter reality. To be aware is to live awake rather than asleep, within distraction or illusion. It is the difference between existing and living, between passing through life and actually inhabiting it. Where we place our attention determines the texture of our days. If attention is scattered, life feels fragmented. If attention is absent, life passes by unnoticed. But when attention is gathered and directed, awareness deepens. The ordinary reveals its depth, and even small moments become meaningful. Awareness allows us to discover that life is not waiting elsewhere. It is here within the immediacy of this breath, this thought, this sensation. The mind is restless, continually drawn to what is absent: the past with its regrets, the future with its anxieties. Dreams too can become distractions if they pull us away from presence. When we lose awareness, we are no longer living, but wandering, chasing images, fears and desires, rather than engaging with what is. In this way, the absence of awareness is itself a form of neglect. It demands that we see life as it is, not as we prefer it to be. Often we avoid awareness because it brings discomfort. To notice our habits, our attachments, our patterns can be unsettling. Yet without this clarity, change is impossible. Awareness is not always pleasant, but it is always liberating. It frees us from illusion and provides the foundation for wise action. When we are aware, we recognize the layers of experience, the surface of events, and the deeper currents beneath them. We begin to notice not only what happens, but how we respond, not only what we feel, but why we feel it. This self-awareness expands our freedom, for it allows us to choose rather than simply react. Without awareness, we are governed by impulse. With awareness, we can live with intention. To be aware of others is to truly encounter them beyond assumptions or distractions. It is to listen fully, to notice not only words, but tone, not only actions, but intentions. Awareness opens space for compassion because it reveals the shared humanity within us all. Without awareness, relationships become mechanical. With awareness, they become alive. Awareness reminds us that life is fleeting, that each moment is unique and unrepeatable. This recognition sharpens our appreciation. It prevents us from postponing life, from waiting endlessly for another time. With awareness, we see that the present is not a stepping stone, but the essence of life itself. It awakens gratitude, for we realize that nothing is guaranteed, not the next day, not the next breath. Dreams, ambitions, and fears can all distort perception, but awareness keeps us anchored. It asks what is truly happening now, what is within my control, what is real, and what is projection. In answering these questions, awareness dissolves confusion and provides clarity. It prevents us from being lost in fantasies or overwhelmed by anxieties. It steadies the mind in the midst of change. It is not achieved once and for all, but must be renewed continually. Each day offers countless opportunities to pause, to notice, to return to presence. Awareness is fragile when neglected, but it strengthens with attention. Over time, it becomes less an effort and more a way of being, a quiet readiness to meet life as it is. Ultimately, awareness is not an accessory to life, but its foundation. Without it, even success feels hollow, for we are absent while it unfolds. With it, even the simplest moments shine, for we are fully there to receive them. Awareness teaches us that life is not something to be escaped or endured, but something to be entered fully. It is the doorway to meaning, to wisdom, to peace. The Stoics considered awareness central to a good life. Marcus Aurelius constantly urged himself to be mindful of his thoughts, to watch the movements of the soul as carefully as one watches the passing of the stars. Epictetus taught that philosophy itself is nothing other than the cultivation of awareness, noticing what is within our control, noticing when desire or aversion begins to carry us away, noticing when we forget reason. For the Stoic, awareness is not abstract, it is practical vigilance. It is the practice of self-examination, of observing the mind without judgment, but with honesty. Through this awareness, one learns to align with virtue, to remain steady amid chaos, and to return again and again to the present. In their eyes, the unexamined life is not only unwise, but unlived. To live fully, one must first be aware. The present moment is the only place where life truly exists. Past experiences are memories, and future hopes are projections, but the present is reality itself. Yet despite this truth, many live as though the present were insignificant, merely a stepping stone to something greater. We rush through days, treating them as preparation for a future that never fully arrives. In doing so, we fail to honor the immense value of the now. The present moment is not small. It contains everything. Within it, there is breath, thought, sensation, connection, and choice. Each moment holds the fullness of life's richness, yet we often overlook it, blinded by our preoccupation with what has been or what might be. To see the present clearly is to recognize that it is not just a fragment in the chain of time. It is the entirety of life as it unfolds. Dreams dazzle with their promise. Memories glow with nostalgia, but the present appears plain. We imagine that significance lies elsewhere, yet this is an illusion. The present is the stage upon which all else rests. Every achievement, every relationship, every experience has occurred in the present. Even the future, when it arrives, will arrive only as now. To dismiss the present as unimportant is to dismiss life itself. The mind is seldom satisfied with what is here. It continually compares, wanting more, wanting different. This restlessness leads us to postpone living. We tell ourselves that once a dream is realized, or once conditions improve, then we will live fully. But life does not wait. To postpone living is to lose it moment by moment. until time itself slips away. The value of the present lies not only in its reality, but in its power. The present is the only place where action is possible. We cannot change the past, and the future remains uncertain. Only in this moment can we act, choose, create, or grow. Every dream, no matter how distant, depends on actions taken in the present. To ignore the present while chasing the future is to undermine the very foundation upon which the future depends. It continually shows us the truth of impermanence. Moments arise and pass, reminding us that nothing lasts forever. This can be unsettling, but it is also liberating. It teaches us to appreciate life as it unfolds, to embrace experiences fully while they are here, knowing they will not return in the same form. The fleeting nature of the present is precisely what makes it precious. Gratitude arises when we see that life is not lacking, but abundant. The breath we take, the thought we form, the connection we feel, all are gifts freely given. When we overlook the present, gratitude fades and life seems empty. But when we honor it, gratitude deepens and even simple moments shine. Dreams provide direction, but presence provides substance. Dreams tell us where we are going, but presence ensures that we are alive as we travel. Without presence, even the fulfillment of dreams feels hollow, for we are absent while it happens. With presence, even the smallest step feels meaningful, for we are fully there to experience it. It asks us to pause, to notice, to breathe, to return again and again to what is here. It is easy to drift into distraction, to become lost in thought, but awareness can always bring us back. Each return strengthens presence, reminding us that the value of life is not in reaching another place, but in inhabiting this one fully. Ultimately, the present is not just valuable, it is sacred. It is the meeting point of time and eternity, the place where life touches us directly. To honor it is to live with depth, with clarity, with peace. To forget it is to live in shadows, chasing what does not exist. The invitation is simple yet profound. Be here now, for here is life and nowhere else. The Stoics placed immense emphasis on the present. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself, confine yourself to the present. He knew that the mind easily wanders into regret of the past or fear of the future, but wisdom requires anchoring in what is. Epictetus taught that we should not waste time wishing events to unfold differently, but should attend to the duties at hand in this moment. For the Stoic, the present is where virtue is lived, where courage, justice, temperance, and wisdom are practiced. Seneca warned that life is wasted not by its brevity, but by our failure to inhabit the time given to us. In Stoic thought, then the value of the present lies in its reality, its action, and its virtue. To live well is to live now, not tomorrow, not yesterday, but here, in the only time we truly possess. Every choice carries risk. To live, to act, to dream all involve stepping into uncertainty. Risk is woven into existence, whether we acknowledge it or not. Yet when we become so absorbed in our dreams that we forget the life unfolding before us, we expose ourselves to a deeper, subtler danger, the risk of losing the very substance of life. This is not the risk of failure in action, but the risk of absence in living. When a person devotes all attention to the future while disregarding the present, they gamble with time itself. They assume tomorrow will arrive and will bring fulfillment, forgetting that tomorrow is never promised. This is perhaps the greatest risk of all, to postpone living, to spend today as a sacrifice to a dream that may or may not come true. Such a gamble often ends not in triumph, but in regret. To dream is natural, but when we mistake imagination for certainty, we risk disconnection from reality. We may build our hopes on unstable ground, convinced of outcomes that reality will not support. When reality diverges from these expectations, the collapse is painful. What seemed like a pursuit of meaning becomes a source of disillusionment. The risk here is not merely disappointment, but the erosion of trust in life itself. To chase endlessly after a dream while ignoring rest, reflection, or balance is to gamble with one's own well-being. Health deteriorates, relationships suffer, inner stability weakens. In the pursuit of a single goal, the foundation of life is placed at risk. Ironically, even if the dream is achieved, the cost may outweigh the reward. Success built on neglect can feel empty, for it comes at the expense of wholeness. When a person ties their identity entirely to a dream, they place their sense of self at risk. If the dream fails, they feel as though they themselves have failed. If the dream succeeds, they fear losing it. In either case, freedom is lost. The risk of over-attachment is that the dream, instead of serving life, becomes a master that dictates every thought and feeling. Such bondage undermines peace of mind and diminishes the joy of being. While attention is consumed by distant goals, the simple treasures of daily life are overlooked. Moments of connection, opportunities for gratitude, occasions of beauty all slip by unnoticed. The risk is subtle, yet profound. One may reach the future they dreamed of, only to discover they never truly lived along the way. The tragedy is not in failing to reach the dream, but in failing to inhabit the journey. Yet risk is not always negative. Risk is also opportunity. To act is to risk failure, but it is also to open the possibility of growth. To love is to risk loss, but it is also to open the possibility of connection. To dream is to risk disappointment, but it is also to open the possibility of fulfillment. The key is not to avoid risk altogether, which is impossible, but to discern which risks are worth taking. The wise approach to risk is to embrace it consciously. Instead of drifting blindly into danger, we acknowledge it, evaluate it, and accept it as part of life. We take risks that align with values that foster growth, that deepen presence. We avoid risks that erode life, that blind us to reality, that strip away our freedom. Risk then becomes not an enemy, but a companion, reminding us of the preciousness of life and the necessity of choice. Ultimately, the greatest risk is to live without awareness, to ignore reality, to neglect the present, to abandon balance. These are gambles that always end in loss. By contrast, to live with awareness, to act with integrity, to honor both dreams and life, these risks enrich existence. They remind us that while life is uncertain, it is also abundant, and that risk itself can be a teacher when approached with humility and courage. The Stoics viewed risk not as something to be avoided, but as something to be understood. Epictetus taught that external outcomes are never fully within our control, and therefore to place our peace in them is the greatest risk of all. Marcus Aurelius reflected often on the uncertainty of life, reminding himself that death could come at any moment. For him, the true danger was not in losing wealth, status, or even life itself, but in losing virtue. Seneca wrote that fortune is unpredictable, and to depend upon it is reckless. The Stoic approach to risk is clear. All external risks are tolerable, for they belong to nature, but the internal risk of abandoning reason, justice, or temperance is intolerable. Thus, the Stoics teach us to accept life's uncertainty while guarding steadfastly the only treasure that cannot be taken, our character. Growth is the quiet unfolding of life. It does not happen all at once, nor does it announce itself with fanfare. Growth is gradual, subtle, often invisible in the moment, but unmistakable when reflected upon. To grow is to change, to expand beyond previous limits, to become more than we once were. It is the journey from potential to actuality, from possibility to expression. And while dreams can inspire growth, it is life itself, its challenges, its lessons, its daily rhythm that makes growth real. Growth is not only about achievement. It is not measured merely by reaching goals or fulfilling ambitions. True growth is deeper. It is about becoming wiser, more patient, more compassionate, more resilient. It is the enlargement of the inner self, the strengthening of character, the refinement of perspective. Without such growth, even great accomplishments feel empty. With it, even ordinary experiences become profound. One of the paradoxes of growth is that it often arises from difficulty. We imagine that comfort will nourish us, yet it is challenge that stretches us. Pain teaches endurance. Failure teaches humility, loss teaches appreciation. These lessons are rarely sought, but they are indispensable. Growth requires friction, just as a seed must break its shell to sprout. Without resistance, we remain dormant, unchanged. It cannot occur if we are absent from life, lost in obsession with the future. Dreams may give direction, but growth happens in the now, through choices, actions, and reflections in real time. To postpone living in the hope of someday becoming more is to miss the very process by which growth occurs. We grow not later, but now in the midst of daily life. It cannot be confined to one area alone. To pursue growth only in career while neglecting relationships, or only in intellect while ignoring character, leads to imbalance. Genuine growth integrates all aspects of life. It harmonizes body, mind, and spirit so that no part is neglected. This integration brings stability, preventing the distortions that come from partial development. To grow, one must admit that one is not yet complete. Pride resists growth, insisting that one already knows already, has enough. But humility opens the door to learning. It acknowledges limitation without despair, and in doing so, it creates space for expansion. The humble person grows continually, for they never cease to be a student of life. In a world that craves immediacy, growth demands time. Just as a tree does not mature overnight, the self does not transform instantly. Growth is the accumulation of countless small moments, acts of discipline, reflections of awareness, choices of integrity. These moments, imperceptible in isolation, gradually shape a life. To demand instant growth is to misunderstand its nature. It is not sudden but steady, not dramatic but enduring. We grow through others through encounters, conversations, conflicts, and connections. Each person we meet reflects something of ourselves, teaching us, challenging us, expanding our understanding. To isolate oneself is to limit growth, for we need the mirror of others to see more clearly who we are. Community provides both friction and support, both challenge and encouragement. In this shared space, growth becomes richer. Age does not guarantee wisdom, and experience alone does not ensure maturity. Growth requires reflection. It is reflection that transforms experience into learning, that turns difficulty into depth, that converts time into wisdom. Without reflection, experiences pass by unused. With reflection, even simple events become profound lessons. Growth, then, is not simply living through time, but learning from time. It is the shedding of illusions, the release of false attachments, the embrace of what is real and enduring. Growth strips away what is superficial and deepens what is essential. It is not about becoming someone else, but about becoming more fully oneself, truer, freer, more grounded in the essence of life. The Stoics viewed growth not as external success, but as progress in virtue. Epictetus spoke of philosophy as a training ground, where each day one strives to live more in accordance with reason and nature. For him, growth was the gradual strengthening of the inner citadel, the mind's resilience against fortune. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily to improve in justice, self-control, and courage, recognizing that life's brevity made growth urgent. Seneca emphasized that true progress is not measured by words or knowledge, but by how calmly one meets adversity, how freely one lives from wisdom rather than impulse. In Stoicism, growth is never about becoming greater in the eyes of others, but about becoming steadier within oneself. To the Stoics, each day is an opportunity to grow in virtue, and this growth is the only treasure that time cannot diminish. At the heart of this reflection lies a simple truth. Dreams are valuable, but they cannot replace life itself. Dreams inspire, guide, and expand our imagination, but they are not the ground upon which we stand. Life is the only reality we inhabit, and if we lose touch with it, no dream, no matter how bright, can save us from emptiness. The core message then is balance, to dream, without forgetting to live without abandoning the power of dreaming. The danger is not in dreaming, but in allowing dreams to overshadow the present. Many fall into this trap, thinking fulfillment lies only in the future. They chase endlessly, imagining that once the dream is achieved, life will begin. Yet life is not postponed until tomorrow. It unfolds now. To neglect the present for the sake of the future is to exchange certainty for uncertainty, reality for illusion. Ambition has its place, for it drives us to grow, to contribute, to move beyond stagnation. But ambition without awareness turns destructive. It blinds us to what is already here. It convinces us that life is a problem to be solved rather than a gift to be received. The core message reminds us that ambition must be tempered by presence, that dreams must walk hand in hand with reality. The essence of life is found in presence, not postponement. Each moment contains value in itself, independent of achievement. To live fully is not to reach every dream, but to inhabit every day with depth. This does not diminish the role of dreams. Rather, it places them within the larger frame of existence. Dreams may direct us, but they do not define us. We are defined by how we live, not by what we imagine. It reminds us that time is finite. To waste it in pursuit of endless dreams without ever pausing to live is to gamble with the most precious resource we have. Life is not a rehearsal nor a preparation. It is the main act, happening here and now. Dreams can enrich it, but they cannot replace it. Humility teaches us to honor what is already given, to see that life itself is enough. When we confuse dreams with life, we become enslaved by them. Our happiness rises and falls with progress toward imagined goals. But when we see clearly, we are freed. We realize that life's worth does not depend on conditions yet to come. It is inherent in the act of being, in the breath, in the presence, in the awareness of now. This freedom allows us to dream boldly without being chained to the outcome. Gratitude arises naturally when we stop postponing life. We see the value of the ordinary, the richness of each moment, the gift of simply existing. Gratitude transforms the present from something to be endured into something to be celebrated. With gratitude, dreams become companions rather than masters, guiding us gently. without overshadowing the joy of living. To live well is not to choose between dreams and life, but to integrate them. Dreams give direction. Life gives substance. Dreams look ahead. Life grounds us now. When both are honored, we live with depth and with hope, with presence and with purpose. To separate them is to distort life. To unite them is to fulfill it. This is the essence. Do not be so absorbed in dreams that you forget to live. For dreams without life are empty, and life without dreams is diminished. Together they form a harmony that sustains us. To honor both is to live fully, wisely, and freely. The Stoics would affirm this core message with clarity. Marcus Aurelius wrote that confine yourself to the present, while also acknowledging that reason allows us to imagine and plan. The point was never to reject vision, but to remain rooted in reality. Epictetus taught that freedom comes from aligning desire with what is within our control. To obsess over distant dreams places happiness outside our reach. To live in the present anchors it where it belongs. Seneca emphasized that life is not short, but we make it so by wasting time on what is not essential. For the Stoics, the balance between vision and presence is the essence of wisdom. To dream without attachment, to act without illusion, to live each day as though it were both the beginning and the end. In this harmony, life regains its true depth. At the end of this journey, the message is both simple and profound. Dreams are vital, but life itself is irreplaceable. To live well is not to abandon dreams, nor to be consumed by them, but to weave them into the fabric of daily existence. Each part we have explored: dreams, obsession, neglect, life, balance, reality, action, awareness, present, value, risk, growth, and the core message points toward the same truth. Fulfillment comes not from extremes, but from harmony. They lift our eyes beyond the horizon and awaken possibility. Yet dreams are not enough on their own. Obsession blinds, neglect erodes, and imbalance leads us astray. Reality, however imperfect, is the ground upon which we must walk. Action gives dreams, form awareness, deepens our experience, and presence reveals life's true value. Risk is unavoidable, but when met with courage, it becomes a teacher. Growth is inevitable when we live with humility, patience, and reflection. And through it all, the core message remains: do not lose life in pursuit of the future. It is here in this breath, in this choice, in this moment, that meaning resides. To wait endlessly for another time is to gamble with what is certain for the sake of what is not. Gratitude, awareness, and presence transform the ordinary into the extraordinary. In honoring the present, we do not diminish our dreams. We enrich them, giving them real soil in which to grow. So let this be the closing reminder: live your life now. Dream boldly, yes, but live deeply. Act with courage, stay aware, value the present, and grow in wisdom. Do not risk losing the treasure of today while chasing tomorrow's shadow. Life is already here, already enough, already waiting for you to enter it fully. If these reflections have spoken to you, I invite you to share your thoughts in the comments. What part resonates most with your journey? And if you wish to continue exploring life's wisdom together, consider subscribing to the channel. May we walk this path with balance, dreaming without losing presence, and living without forgetting to hope.